Hi everyone, welcome to the weekly intuitive card reading for December 4th through the 10th. This is the first full week of December, and guys, I apologize for last week's reading being so long. The last weekly reading was about 40 minutes. I will definitely try to cut that down. You guys know I try to go around 20 minutes, so we'll definitely shoot for that this time, but I just want to make sure we get the reading right. Sometimes it's hard to interpret the energy, but I appreciate everybody staying to the end. And I'm going to jump right into it because I don't want another 40-minute video, but really quick, guys, please like this video. Please share with anybody that could benefit from the messages in this video, in this reading. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And I, by the way, love the comments. I see them, I read them, I read every single one. Thank you so much for the interaction, and please continue to do so. All right, guys, so let's just jump right into it. I've shuffled the cards. I think this might be the same order. It's the same 4 decks I've been using. It feels intuitively right, so I keep doing the same decks. And yeah, all right, that's it, guys. Let's jump into it. What do we need? All right, pretty straightforward on this one. What do we need this week? We need community. The 8 is jumping out to me. 8 is always, if you guys can see the 8, it's kind of tiny there. 8 is about abundance. 8 is about empowerment. So we definitely have this need for community. So any chance that we get, any chance that you get this week or opportunity to work in a group or be part of something or be social in any type of way, yes, lean more towards being more intentional with it. That's great. Don't just like go to an event just to be social, for example. Make sure it's something that you're interested in or something like that. But definitely does feel like there's this camaraderie that's really needed, that our soul is kind of calling for. And yeah, it will lead to abundance. It will lead to more empowerment. And it'll lead to, again, it feels like something, I read from a soul level. I'm kind of like picking up the energy of like what our soul needs. So that's just what it feels like. It's what we're desiring this week, okay? So pretty straightforward there. So let's move on and let's see what the action needed is. Trader exchange energy to create abundance. Okay, so we have another card referencing abundance. So far, so good. I'm liking this week. This feels very prosperous. Even though we live in a prosperous universe, sometimes things aren't so great in that area, but it's feeling good so far. So this is basically saying the trader is about you have something to give and somebody, it's like a giving, receiving energy. It's kind of saying like you have everything that you kind of need. But this is basically saying to give is to receive. So this definitely does feel like a week of giving more. Makes sense. We're, into the season of holidays, holiday season. So there tends to be a lot more charitable feelings and philanthropic pursuits and more of kind of like that giving holiday spirit. So I'm definitely feeling it already. And some of you guys, obviously I'm reading for the collective, so a lot of you guys are kind of feeling that already. So what I will say is the more you give, the more you receive, because that's kind of what the trader energy is kind of saying. It's like you don't really need much to kind of give. And if you guys are following me on any platform, I share the dailies that I've been doing. We had a nurturer card maybe sometime last week, and I was kind of feeling this energy of like, we're kind of, I've been getting this kind of in the readings too, that we're moving out of a little bit of a survival mode. So we have like a little bit more to give, whether that's time, energy, money, whatever it actually is, our skill, whatever we can actually, like we're actually at a place energetically where we have more to give, like we have more of an overflow, right? Because a lot of us were in survival mode. A lot of us were filling our own cup and, spending time doing that, focusing on ourselves because we kind of had to, right? Because of whatever kind of we were going through, right? So, this is really saying and reiterating, hey, we have a little bit more. Our cup is overflowing. So now we have to give to others, and with the intention of just giving, right? But this is saying, the trader is saying, hey, what we give, we get back, right? We have something that people need, and people have something that we need, right? And so again, the intention isn't to give to receive, but that's just kind of like the natural order of how it's going to work out with this trader card is basically what it's saying. So don't give to receive, but know that it is going to kind of come with a reward or an exchange is more of the word here because of that trader energy. So there's definitely abundance in that area as well. So 2 cards that are really kind of pointing, we got that 8 energy with that first one, and then we're talking about, the more we give, the more we get back. Okay, so definitely prosperous energy kind of coming in. So I'm actually very curious to see what comes in finances, money, and I count career here, but again, this doesn't have to be that. This could be, abundance could be health. Abundance could be a plethora of community, right? Of people that care about us, people that really love us, family, like that kind of thing. So abundance doesn't necessarily have to be finances. I know a lot of people do connect it, but I'm curious to see what kind of comes up there. But let's move on to the next thing and see, all right, what do we have issues with? We're coming up to, the not so great area of the spread. Maybe that's not really the correct way to say it, but again, issues and challenges and change. It's really like kind of like the more chaotic of the week. Okay, so we have shapeshifter. So we have light attributes, skill at navigating through different levels of consciousness, ability to see the potential in everything. Okay, this to me also points a little bit towards abundance because abundance of potential, right? We're able to kind of see our potential in prosperity and abundance in the opposite of lack, right? And so seeing our fullest potential. But we have the shapeshifter, which says we have the ability to be adaptable, be flexible. And this theme has been kind of coming up in a lot of the past readings, but the fact that it's under issue is a little bit of concern because this is kind of saying we're having trouble adapting. This sounds familiar. We may have gotten this, guys, sorry, I don't remember, but we may have gotten this either in the last weekly or the last monthly where we do have issues with being adaptable or being flexible, but our lives are calling us to be at this time. So this is just coming up and saying, hey, you have the ability to be these things, Spirit is showing me like chameleon. We have and everything has a light and a shadow, right? And being a chameleon could look good. In the light, it's saying like you have the ability to blend in when needed, and which is really great, right? The reason a chameleon does that is because it blends into its environment, so it doesn't get eaten and doesn't get preyed upon, right? But when you look at it in the shadow, it's you blend into the background not to be seen, right? And there might be like a fear of being seen there or whatever. I'm going on a tangent here. But basically what I'm trying to say is that it's saying shapeshifter is good. Being the chameleon is good. Is in a positive way because it's in the light, but we're going to have an issue with that is kind of what Spirit is saying. So let's see what the actual next challenge says and see if it's related in any type of way. Okay, interesting. It says father, husband, brother, son. So we have the masculine energy coming up. So we're going to have challenges with the masculine energy. This could mean for some of you guys issues with being a little bit more literal with this card, with your spouse, your husband, brother, son, that kind of thing. Anyone that's more dominant in the masculine energy, and it feels like if you connect these two, that might be part of it, right? And so if you connect these two and you say, I'm having issues, you're having issues being adaptable and flexible, when it comes to if we connect them to masculine energy, maybe you have an issue. So masculine energy is like a lot of the doing and it's being structured and being more analytical. So maybe you're having trouble with that this week, something connected to that. You're having trouble being structured. You're having trouble sticking to tasks. You're having trouble crunching the numbers. You're having trouble getting things done, or something like that. Like that could even be linked to something around like procrastination, etc., etc. But there's something here where we're having issues being adaptable and flexible with the doing of some kind, and that could look differently for like a lot of different people. But again, could also mean that we're just having challenges really with the masculine energy, whether that's the masculine energy within ourselves, like I'm mentioning now, or with actual physical relationships with with people of dominant masculine energy. Okay, so could be both, could be one or the other. Interested to see how that manifests, and again, put it down below how it will. Okay, or how it transpires through the week. Okay, we have change. So we have truth be told. Okay, so this is really about, sometimes it could be linked to like authenticity, telling our truth, speaking our truth. So that's changing. So I definitely do see a lot of us speaking up more about what's coming up intuitively for me is speaking up about our truth around not necessarily what we truly desire, but what we really need. I also am getting this, and this, I will link it back to this first one here because of the need, is a lot of us are definitely going to be admitting to ourselves things that maybe we need from relationships and what we need from community that we're not, and family, that maybe we haven't necessarily been honest with ourselves about or have been conscious of or aware of in the past. But it definitely does feel like there's like an aha moment kind of connected to this card here, where we finally decide to like spirit is almost giving me like this feeling of like deceit, like we're kind of deceiving ourselves a little bit, like we're trying to pretend maybe that we don't need other people, or we're trying to pretend that we really don't want a relationship when in reality we actually really do, or something along those lines. That was just an example, but I really do feel like we're starting to tell the truth about what we actually need, and that's coming to light. And I think we're finally going to kind of be like admitting things to ourselves that we haven't again been conscious of, or didn't want to admit, or we were being we were deceiving ourselves about, and I think that's coming to light, and we're finally kind of admitting it to ourselves. Something tells me already that you guys have already, as a collective, been kind of thinking about this, and it's kind of been bubbling up to the surface. So something tells me a lot of you guys hearing this are going to be like, I know exactly what's going on, even though the week hasn't necessarily completed itself yet. But I'm just going to throw that out there because it's just the feeling that I'm getting, okay? All right, so not too bad up here. Okay, not too bad. All right, focus. We have autumn, release the old and rest. We had this last time. I actually think we had this in the weekly and the monthly, if I'm not mistaken. I wouldn't trust my memory, though. But we have release the old and rest. Okay, so it actually doesn't surprise me. I could almost bet $1 million kajillion that it'll come up in next week's reading too, because it's definitely going to be a theme for December in general. So again, I have a feeling it did come up in the monthly as well, is that we are, the focus here is to let go of the old and rest. Like, it's not necessarily about jumping into something new right now, because that's saving for the new year. I know it sounds cliche, new year, new life, but no, for real, because we're actually moving to a new calendar. We move into a new numerology calendar, basically. We move into a new number, we move into a new universal year, we move into a new personal year for you guys. So it makes sense to me. This is why I love New Year's, is because it literally does feel like a new beginning, because it really is, right? And so very rarely does December transpire. It's really kind of getting ready for the new instead of the actual new happening. Maybe for some of you guys, but not really, because again, autumn is about preparing yourself and letting go of what doesn't serve you and kind of processing that. Like, we need the time for the processing, especially if you consider yourself an empath, a sensitive person, that kind of thing. So it's definitely a time for rest and processing, basically. And it's interesting that it's under the focus, because that makes a lot of sense. All right, what else do we need to reflect on? We have warrior. Oh, guys, you guys know this is one of my favorite cards. In the light, strength, skill, discipline, and toughness of will, heroism, stoicism, and self-sacrifice in conquering the ego. Okay, warrior is about being the badass, okay? I don't even know how else to say it. And this is about reflecting on how far you've come, how strong you've been, You know what I think of too when I always hear the warrior? I always think of the phoenix rising from the damn ashes. Okay, so makes sense that it's we're coming to the end of the year. Look back at the year, reflect on the year. How are you a warrior? What is the thing that you're overcoming? What is the thing that you have overcame? Right, because the focus here is resting because you overcame something. Right, you're resting from something. So this is really the warrior saying, just reflect on that status. There's really not too much to say. And guys, this definitely comes with an element of being proud of yourself, being easy on yourself, and just, seeing how far that you've come. Everybody asks me, how do I build confidence? This is how you do it, okay? This is how you do it. You look at the things that you have overcame, how you didn't give up, how you kept going, that kind of thing. So that to me is how you build confidence, right? And so that will also help a little bit with the shapeshifter here, because it's going to bring us confident in being adaptable, resilient, and flexible. Those things that we really need, the skills that we really need for life, the skills that makes you a warrior, right? Those are really, if you think about it. So yes, you guys are amazing. And in my opinion, that's where your power comes from too, right? Is like kind of going through whatever you went through, right? Everybody's going to be different. I'm reading for the collective, so everybody has different lives with different obstacles, different things that you have gone through, but everybody is a warrior, however you look at it, whatever it is that you have, and whatever it is that you have conquered. Okay, all right, let's move on from that. Responsibilities. What are we responsible? Okay, our responsibilities are balance, career, and home life. Pretty straightforward on this one. Really, we're looking for balance. Okay, so this is about balancing the scales of career and home. There's not too much I can say here, but actually really curious to see what money and finances are now. Higher power. Oh my God, how many times do we get this in the money and finances slot? Like, how many times, guys? Pretty sure this came up in the monthly. Pretty sure this came up either in the weekly too, or both. Okay, if not last week's weekly, definitely go back a couple weeks. If you guys want to revisit those videos, there is a higher power. What does it mean in the money, finances, and career slot? It means there's nothing to worry about. It means trusting that everything is working itself out, okay? So trusting that the abundance is coming when we do certain things, but also just because we live in an abundant universe, okay? And just because the universe is taking care of it for us, okay? So it would be a complete waste. Again, not telling anybody how to feel or anything, but spending time wondering how, how our finances, career, and money situation is going to go, it just feels like that's a way to drain our energy, right? Guys, don't forget, I do these readings to get ahead of the energy and work with the energies that are coming up, because when we know this information, it can become a little bit easier to, it at least I hope what it does for you guys is bring a little bit more freedom to you. And in this case, emotional freedom, right? Because if we get extremely anxious about how we're going to make money, how we're going to do this, how we're going to pay rent, how we're going to pay for the holiday gifts, things like that. Yes, they're legitimate concerns and everybody's feelings are valid and anxiety is very real. Okay. But at a certain point, it doesn't serve you anymore, right? And so that's what Spirit is saying is anything that's do I want to say overindulgent? Anything that's, sometimes they use the word like overextension, right? It's really kind of about balance. It's interesting it's next to the balance card, because that's what it's really about, if you think about it. The universe is always trying to keep us in a balance, masculine and feminine, career and relationships, work and play, which is basically the same thing, but seeing two sides of a story, balancing it out, the life is really about balance. That's why karma is a thing, right? Because karma is actually neutral, right? It doesn't it's a lot of people use it in a way negatively, but that's not really true. It just is, right? It's just the universe's system for balancing things out, right? And so basically, I'm going off on a tangent again, but this is basically saying a higher power has it. Trust is really all you need to do when it comes to money, finances, and career, that everything is going to work itself out, because there's nothing much to do here. because we're still resting, right? We're still focusing on resting and processing, okay? All right, surprise. Elder, move beyond ancestral patterns. Okay, so interesting, but not surprise. Maybe a surprise to us, but not really surprising to me because of this first card. Because this is about breaking generational ancestral patterns. This is about family stuff. And the fact that we got this first one here about community and it's going to bring us more abundance. And again, it doesn't have to be finances. Could mean abundance of love, abundance of health, abundance of opportunities. Like there's a bunch of different things that abundance could mean. But this has something to do with family, and it feels like there's a reason why it's the abundance is coming through with community, because this is saying community is what we should be focusing on. And so this technically means like working on breaking generational patterns and things like that. Anybody that does any shadow work or trauma work or anything along those lines know that there's a lot, your childhood is, and your family has a lot to do with shaping the person that you are today. And so the fact that it's under surprise makes me feel like, how do I say this? And then connecting it back to the community card is that there's some hidden gems within your ancestral patterns that will bring you back to wanting community. I think that's the best way I can kind of say it. Like these two are definitely related in some type of way, because it's really, could it be that you are, that somebody, this is pretty big, but somebody in your family maybe is breaking a generational pattern of some kind or trauma of some kind, and that allows you to become closer with that person or side of the family or something like that, and then it creates more of a community. That could be something that's kind of going on here. That's probably not the best example, but that's, you guys know, I'm not, the best when it comes to examples, but it kind of feels that way. There's something, here, I'll say it like this. And I think I already mentioned the term hidden gem. Okay, that's what kind of keeps coming up. Hidden gem within the family and the family patterns that will work in your favor in a positive light. That's why it's under surprise, because it feels almost positive, because it's kind of like, all right, generational trauma is coming up. How could that be positive? Breaking the chains of some kind. It leads us more to community. It leads us more to thinking about how we want to go forward with our family, etc., etc. Okay, so the surprise is it's in our favor. I'll put it that way. Okay, so hopefully I'm not confusing you guys more, and I'm very curious to see how that transpires for a lot of you guys. But I'll just put that right there. That it's almost like Spirit is saying, like, actually, it's a positive thing this time. All right, so let's move on. Let's see what our friends are like. Alchemist in the shadow, we have misuse of the power and knowledge that come through spiritual practice. Okay, misuse of the power and knowledge that come through spiritual practice. Okay, so this to me, the Alchemist is really a powerful card, but it's coming in the shadow. So this to me is saying that we're not necessarily taking reins of creating our own reality and learning from the past and learning from our wisdom and our knowledge. And because it's under friends, it has to do with the people that are closest to us and our relationships around us. So this to me says, like, we're not how do I say this? We're not being as wise within our friend groups and making the wisest decisions when it comes to what's kind of going on with the people around us. Okay, how else can I say this? Like, it's almost like Spirit is saying, like, I know you know better, right? That's kind of, and not to shame anybody or anything like that, because Spirit is not doing that. It's just saying, like, there's some wisdom that can be imparted within your friend group, whether that's like a deeper wisdom of forgiveness or compassion or just knowledge in general that can be used within your friend group, repairing a relationship, helping a friend, like whatever it actually is, that we may not be using this week. I don't know if that's confusing or not, but that's the best way I can say it. Something tells me by the end of the week, we might be feeling not regret, but maybe thinking we could have handled a situation better, or that we knew better about something, or we're not handling something properly, we're not being mature enough about something along those lines. Like I'm definitely like feeling not regret necessarily, but feeling like maybe we could have done things differently. And it doesn't feel, I would feel like a heavy regret, and I don't. So it's not something like huge, but I definitely do feel like we could have been, we could have handled things a little bit differently within our friends group this week. And I definitely 100% feel that this weekend we're going to be kind of like, even though it's not under the reflect, I know it's kind of close to the focus and reflect here, and we have like bigger things to kind of like focus on. But this does tell me like next week, towards the end of the week, this upcoming weekend, that we really might start reflecting on that. I don't want to go too much into it. I think it makes sense. Let me know if it doesn't. You guys can ask questions down below too. But I hope that does make sense to you guys. Okay, romantic connection, we have trust. Okay, so we have another trust. Higher power was also trust here, but this is trusting in the universe. This is about trusting partners and trusting people. So I definitely do feel that, I don't feel it's a problem. I actually feel like we've been kind of doing the work, and we are having a new level of trust. So, or getting a reward for trust. So maybe we trusted somebody to get something done this week, our partner, for example, and they actually got it done. So we have some kind of reinforcement or something like that. This could also be trusting ourselves, like trusting that we, for our single people out there, that they're picking the right partner, that they feel good about a partner, like that kind of thing. So I definitely do feel like trust is in our favor this week, and it comes through for us, for trusting ourselves, trusting our intuition when maybe it comes to a partner. But I do feel like our romantic connections are really good this week, and building a deeper level of trust in the dynamic, which is great. Okay, important, happy. Okay, so our happiness is important, obviously. What brings us joy is super important. Sometimes it's just like the simple things. I have a little bit of hair here, sorry. What brings you joy? So guys, there are always small moments or small things that really just bring us a weird sense of bliss. So I would go with that. Because I'm definitely getting like this feeling intuitively, like it's the little things. So don't forget to kind of do the little things. Whether that's like treating yourself to your favorite cup of coffee this week, that makes you happy, whatever it actually is, just go for it. Getting a pedicure, it doesn't have to be like a self-care thing, but something that really just so simple, super affordable, doesn't even have to cost any money, but something that really just brings you pure bliss and pure joy. So basically Spirit is saying, don't forget the small moments, okay, and treat yourself. Health and wellness, shaman, trust in higher forces. Well, look at here. We have a little bit of a pattern, okay? Trust, okay? So this is, again, trusting in very similar type energies. Trusting that everything is going to work itself out health and wellness wise. Okay, so if we're having doubts about our recovery of some kind, about our healing journey, about our wellness in any type of way, give it to God this week. Okay, same thing with money, finances, and career. Okay, so this is about giving it to a higher power and really finding that deep trust. So I like that the trust came up in romantic connections, because it's also saying, like, it's like the trust in other human beings will reinforce the trust within universe and vice versa. So I like that both are kind of coming up. So that's really awesome. Like there's double, triple trust really. But you can trust both, and that's what Spirit is kind of saying this week. So trust that everything will work itself out, and there's not too much more that you can do. And so this is actually really good for anybody that's going through a healing journey that feels stuck. Because we definitely do have that stuck energy, if you remember from the previous readings, that is kind of going on here. So anybody that feels stuck and they feel like they're not moving forward, trust that you are. It might be just like a slow week or a stagnant week, but you are moving forward, and you are, going forward, and you are healing, and even if you don't necessarily see the evidence, right? That's really what trust is about, right? So yeah, amazing. All right, and overall outcome. Martyr, learning the transcendent nature of service to oneself or a cause. Okay, so this is about serving others, and I like this because it kind of ties back into these first couple cards here, more specifically the action needed, because the action needed is about giving and then receiving, as like an added bonus, basically. And that's kind of what the martyr is. The martyr in the shadow, we hear more often, I feel like, because people are playing the martyr. And that situation basically is like, consistently people pleasing and doing things for other people, expecting something back. And that's not what this is about, because this is in the light. And that's not what that card up there, the traitor, is about either. This is about just giving from the goodness of your heart, because you have extra. You have more to give this time around. You have more to give after a while of not being able to give much. And so I think it's just so positive, and it's just so, I almost want to say festive, because of the holiday kind of season kind of coming up here. So I love it. You guys are ready to give, and and straight from the heart, and intentionally in a good, and from a good place. And I just love it. And that kind of like sums up the week. It's just like we're really ready to give more than usual for to others. So okay guys, overall I don't see anything that scares me too much. Like I said, we might have some issues pivoting, flexibility, adaptability, resilience, that kind of thing, but we've been kind of, that's been like in and out of readings, like here and there. So it doesn't scare me too much. The change is a positive place, because we're starting to figure out more of what we need, and admitting things to ourselves, so we're being less deceitful. And then again, the trust, like letting, let go, let God, that kind of thing. And then anything that's coming up in an ancestral or generational way, family stuff, is actually going to be used in our benefit, and it's going to be more of like a positive thing. So I see this as a really, really, really great week. And this happy card just kind of solidifies it, because it's like, just reward yourself, for like this year in general. So do you, that kind of thing. So, don't forget the small blissful moments, basically. So, all right, guys, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I hope this resonates with you. I hope it's helpful in some way, shape, or form. And that's it. I'll see you guys for the next weekly. So have a good one, guys. Bye.